Oof, my head. That was really rough. My memory is clouded. What happened to me? I'll understand where I am and what I'm doing here, or I'm not Michel Ardan. The tank of this machine is filled with potassium hydroxide. I could use a glass. Looks like I'm not the only one who suffered a shock. This man seems utterly knocked out. Let me see. I'm pretty sure I know him. It's Barbicane, the president of the gun club, and the man at the origin of the Columbiad project.
Baltimore, October 5th, 1865. Barbicane, president of the Gun Club, proposes an undertaking worthy of the 19th century to build a giant cannon capable of shooting at an incredibly distant objective.
An unconscious man. I recognize him. It's Captain Nicholl, a famous engineer.
Captain Nicholl, a specialist in armor plating, is known for his rivalry with Barbicane, an artillery expert. Nicholl claims that the Gun Club's project is impossible. Furious, Barbicane challenges him to a duel.
A newspaper clipping. Hey, the article talks about me.
Michel Ardan, famous French adventurer, volunteers to travel in the aluminum shell designed by President Barbicane. Michel Ardan manages to reconcile Nicholl and Barbicane. "Since you're the kind of men who dare risk their lives," he says, "accompany me. You'll have front row seats to see which of you is right." So in the end, the shell is loaded in the giant cannon with 3 men on board.
I feel as though I were drunk, even if I've drunk nothing at all. This really isn't a good time for this. I've got to get hold of myself. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Good Lord, that blue star, it's the Earth. I'm in outer space.
An enormous explosion tears the shell from the Earth's gravitational pull. Destination, the moon. On board, all the passengers have fallen unconscious.
Everything's coming back to me now. The cannon, the shell. We actually left Earth. Fantastic! We're on our way to the moon. Nicholl, Barbicane, and me. I seem to be the first to ever regain consciousness. I'd better wake up the others. Ooh, my head is heavy. I feel as if I've had too much to drink. I'm pretty sure I was giddy because the air was too rich in oxygen. What's this dark stain that's spreading? Is my friend injured?
Michel Ardan briskly raises the blanket, covering his friend.
My lord! I thought Barbicane was just unconscious, but he's dead. And it's not the G-forces at the launch that killed him, but a bullet right through the heart. What happened? I've got to understand just what happened. A monograph on lunar ideograms. I'm going to take this interesting essay with me. This bottle contains a disinfectant lotion made with cyanide. It has that odor of bitter almond that's so characteristic of this poison. This bottle contains... What do you know? Traces on the glasses show that Barbicane and Nickel served themselves a drink.
Barbicane and Nickel toast each other.
Judging by the smell of it, this glass contains some very fine wine. I'd better not touch this glass. I can smell a suspect bitterness mixed with the bouquet of the wine. Now I seem to be breathing better. This letter is the last message my friend Barbicane wrote to me. Michel, fate dictated that Nickel and I awaken before you. We quickly realized that due to tragic negligence, we wouldn't have enough oxygen for 3. The letter is torn. The rest is missing.
After the shock of launch, President Barbicane and Captain Nickel are the first to regain consciousness. While Ardan is still out cold, the two men realize that because of their negligence, their oxygen supply is insufficient for 3 men. One alone could survive.
With a bit of string, I could tie this blanket around my friend to serve as a shroud. Then I could abandon his body in the vacuum of space. If the ocean serves as a sailor's grave, it's only fitting that space be the tomb of an interplanetary traveler. I'm almost ashamed to remove my worthy friend's hat. Perhaps I ought to put it back on his head. While cutting up Barbicane's hat, I found a letter signed Diana in the lining. It must be confidential if my friend took the trouble to hide it this way. Let's take a look. Sir, I will not seek any other excuse for my behavior than my passionate desire to visit the moon and to meet its inhabitants, who I know for a fact exist. When it turned out that such a journey was possible, I would have given my all to participate. Nothing else was important in my eyes. Yes, I dreamed that you would love me and that I would go with you to the moon. When I realized this was an illusion, I tried out of spite to seduce Captain Nickel. I wanted him to hide me in the shell, a stowaway. But Nickel proved as stubborn as you, and I was left alone with nothing but my shame. I do hope that you will pardon me and beg of you to keep this confession secret, as it would utterly destroy my reputation were it to fall into the wrong hands. Farewell, sir. And when you are on the moon, please think kindly of one who would so love to have accompanied you. So, this Diana tried to seduce Barbicane, then Nickel, in the hope of taking off for the moon? Poor girl. The hearts of human beings are sometimes moved by strange passions.
The old rivalry between Barbicane the gunner and Nickel the armorer is a fact. Furthermore, letters found on the two men seem to indicate that they were loved by the same woman, a certain Diana. Weren't there enough elements to rekindle the flames of a scarcely extinguished dispute? The hypothesis of a quarrel provoked by a woman doesn't resist serious examination. A letter concealed in Barbicane's hat clearly demonstrates that Diana's advances were firmly refused by both men.
Well, now I can throw the body into space.
Under the cover, Nickel is no longer breathing. He's as dead as Barbicane, but there's no visible injury.
I've lost both my friends. I'm all alone here. This rifle smells of powder. It's been fired recently.
Nickel's shot kills Barbicane. A fitting death for the president of the gun club. When he comes to, Ardon first thinks that Barbicane and Nickel have fainted because of the violence of the launch. He soon realizes that both of his friends are dead and swears to find out exactly what happened to them.
A strange smell is emanating from Nickel's face. An odor of bitter almond.
Nickel swallows the cyanide, a quick-acting poison smelling of bitter almond.
Should I search in the papers of my friend? It's indiscreet, but maybe I'll find clues. This is Nickel's wallet. What's it contain that's interesting? Ah, so this is what a love letter looks like. My valiant captain, if you wanted, yes, if you so desired, we could leave together for that destination which fills my every thought. The letter is signed Diana. With a bit of string, I could tie this blanket around my friend to serve as a shroud. Hey, here's the rooster I smuggled on board. I'd forgotten about him. I had hidden this handsome specimen of Gallinaceae under the bench to play a joke on Nickel and Barbicane. Once on the moon, I would have set the animal free outside the shell without saying anything to my friends. What a shock they would have had when they saw this terrestrial poultry perched on some lunar peak. Rooster, my friend, I see you got loose of the string got attached to your foot. Very good. There's no longer any reason for you to stay hidden since we're all alone on board. A piece of paper, ripped up and burned.
The rifle shot scares the rooster that Michel Ardon had hidden in the shell. The frightened animal rips with his claws part of the letter Barbicane has in his hand. The paper catches fire when the frantic movements of the bird carry it above the gas burner. Michel Ardon sends his friend's body into interplanetary space. disconcerting, if predictable event takes place on board the shell. When the projectile reaches the point at which the gravitational attraction of the Earth and the Moon are in equilibrium, Michel Ardan starts floating in the air. Amused by the experience at first, our hero suddenly notices that the potassium tank is not properly closed.
Good Lord, the potassium hydroxide is escaping and forming bubbles. I have to recover the liquid, or it will spill everywhere when weightlessness ends. I've got to catch all the potassium bubbles.
He returns the potassium to its tank and closes it hermetically with an improvised cap.
Whew. The carbon dioxide level is going down. The potassium tank is filled and closed. I shouldn't have any more trouble with that.
The end of weightlessness indicates the shell is coming closer to the moon. If everything goes as planned, Ardan will soon land on its surface.
I'm very close to the moon. I'm practically grazing it. I'm going to make it. Oh no! I missed it! I can't see a thing. Am I in orbit behind the dark side, or adrift in the infinite void? No more sun, no more heat. All right, it's very possible that my capsule is lost in space, but let's be positive about this. Besides dying, what other misfortune could happen to me? And death is just one more journey. Hey!
A dazzling flash attracts Ardan's attention. The explosion of a meteor reveals the hidden face of the moon. The meteor's passage has altered the shell's trajectory. At last, the projectile begins its descent to the lunar surface.
To land successfully, I have to ignite my retro rockets.
Ardan has successfully lowered his speed. He sets down in the middle of the mountains in a cirque where the ground is covered with a strange blue snow. The shell slides and rolls down the slope of a glacier. This uncomfortable descent luckily comes to a halt just on the brink of a precipice. Outside, all is dark and quiet. It's still night at the foot of this mountain range, but lunar dawn will soon break. Ardan opens the door of the shell and closes it again right away. There's no air outside. So, does the moon not have an atmosphere? Ardan can't believe it. He didn't take a long trip like this to stay cooped up in an aluminum prison. But now the first rays of the sun arrive at the foot of the mountains. The blue snow starts to melt. For that matter, is it really snow that's boiling this way? No, it's solidified air which is defrosting in the heat of the day. While the atmosphere covers the ground with a denser and denser cloak, vegetation sprouts and grows at an extraordinary speed.
I should be able to go out now. Hooray! The moon is mine! I think I'll explore this crater where chance has cast me, then I'll try to climb the surrounding mountains. Incredible brightly colored plants, diffuse light, pungent odors. What a vision! This is stranger than any poet's wildest dream. This is the stone that stopped my shell right at the edge of the precipice. It looks as if it were sculpted. Could there be intelligent life on the moon? What's that I hear? An insect? Where did that blasted bug go? I can't hear it anymore. Whoop! Oops, I almost went over myself. I mustn't forget that I weigh 6 times less than on Earth. I can make some extraordinary leaps, but if I don't adjust my takeoff, I could break my neck. A lunar fruit. Is it good to eat? I'd really like to taste it. I'm bursting with energy. My leaps will be that much easier. What a fantastic leap. It felt as if I were flying more than jumping. There must be some way to calm down this aggressive plant. It would be wonderful to plant grapevines on the moon, but I doubt they could stand the local conditions. I'll have to find a way to strengthen them.